Hey guys, what's up? It's Joe Rady from Rady's Rides. I'm back here at Tampa Honda because guess what? We have a coupe, and this is that Civic coupe. It's a 2020 Honda Civic coupe, and I want to try to help you answer a question. Is the LX coupe your best bang for your buck if you wanted a brand new two-door sporty style car? But before we dive into this, let's talk about the Honda Civic. Honda Civic's been around for so many years, really has been a go-to for value, versatility, obviously great MPGs, and that Honda reliability. Now, with the Civic, you can get it many different flavors. It's almost like going to Baskin-Robbins. Baskin-Robbins, 31 flavors, mix them all up in a big bucket and stuff it in your face. Or guess what? You can go and pick and choose the right Civic for you. Now, LX, that entry-level trim, but I think that if you want to try to find the best for your hard-earned money when it comes to value, this might be the one with two doors. So let's go ahead, dive into this 2020 Civic Coupe LX and see if it's the right one for you. Right off the bat, same styling. Now, this has been around for a few years. There is going to be a redesign coming, probably in the next 2 years, I'm going to say, but still looking fresh. Everything blacked out on your interior headlight housing. You got your projector style beam headlight, daytime running lamp, that LED, very unique looking LED daytime running lamp. You drop down to give you a nice little touch of some chrome trim here. Works well with the black. My only zonk is you got this fake vent design. I don't know why. They should have just left it smooth all the way across. Would have been out of sight, out of mind, but because they did this, that's where you're gonna get a zonk there. Now, what normally goes there is on a higher trim, you'd have fog lamps. As you come across the grille, on the LX, you have the gloss black, blends in nicely with the overall black of this particular Honda Civic, and the flat black trim across the bottom. On this black one, it actually is not standing out. If this was a red car, I think this flat black would look out of place. Now, as you drop down, you do have this open area for radiator cooling. It's flat black and a little bit of a lip extension, which just gives it some nice style. Up onto the hood, you get the same exact hood as a Civic Si, as the Civic LX. Real nice design, gives you a good visual reference point when you're behind the wheel. We come around the bend, what are we working with on wheels? Now on the coupe, you actually get aluminum style wheels. If you go sedan, you're gonna be working with Steelies and some hubcaps. But here's what we're working with on this LX coupe. So this is a 16-inch wheel. I like the machined silver, the nice sparkly metallic gray. And you know what? Even though it's a small wheel, being a 16-inch wheel, it works really well and makes this car, I almost had to look at the window sticker twice to make sure that this was an LX. Now, if you're wondering, well, what's the wheel size? 215 on the width and a meaty 55 series sidewall. It's gonna actually give you a comfy ride with a thicker sidewall. Going down the side of the Civic Coupe, same very sharp lines like on any of the other trims. Color match mirror caps. You do have a little bit of chrome trim, which I am gonna zonk. On the coupe, I think they should just go flat black. Nice lower sill extension, and the doors are super size, which is gonna allow you to get in and out very easily. Even those back seats, don't be confused. This car, you can have your cake and eat it too. If you need to have some back room for passengers in the back seat, you'd be surprised. We're gonna show that off as we get to it. So I do like the way that the trim, even though it's chrome, flares out at the back, nice large corner window, and then we get to the back, super and clean. No trunk, no trunklet spoiler. You got a nice little kick up from the plastic that goes across from one taillight to the other. We drop down, there's gonna be a little bit of a zonk action going on. So you got these massive waffle, great looking things. I wanna get some log cabin syrup or something and kind of pour them all over that, but I just wish they would just go flat black. I'm not really digging the fake vent design, kind of just clusters and fiddles with the cleanliness of the lines on the back of the car. Coming across the center section, very, very tasteful lower bumper area. You don't need to have a simulated diffuser or exhaust or anything. Nice and clean from one side to the other. Just says Civic, that's all you need. But why don't we go ahead, let's pop the hood and see what's powering this Civic LX Coupe. All right, guys, we got the hood pop. There is a prop rod, but the good news is it's all the way over to the passenger side. Underneath that hood, that is that naturally aspirated 2-liter engine. So it's producing 158 horsepower, 138 pound-feet of torque. It's all mated to a CVT transmission. Of course, the Civics, they're all front-wheel drive. 0 to 60 in about 8.2 seconds. The car weighs a tick under 2,900 pounds. MPGs, this is where you're gonna be the real winner. About 30 in the city, 38 on the highway. And you have that nice, reliable power out of that naturally aspirated engine. No turbocharger or anything like that. But why don't we go ahead, let's get to the interior and see what kind of value you're getting for your hard-earned money in this coupe. All right, guys, we're inside the 2020 Honda Civic. This one, the LX with the CVT transmission. I know you're at that point where you're like, Joe, I've been wanting a car that has 2 doors, has a little bit of room in the back seat when I need to take somebody that extra than the +1 when I have a +2 or 3. How much is this? MSRP is right around $22,000. Let's see what you get for the money. Now, to the door panels, I like the soft touch material across the whole top. You have some silver there that looks tasteful. Where I'm gonna zonk it is that cloth armrest. It's hard as a Japanese stone that's been thrown in the ocean and has algae all over it. The door pocket, you could fit about 2, maybe 3 tacos, depending on how much they're stuffed, and a nice bottle of Coca-Cola to wash it all down. Dash, I like this nice black texture material. The silver trim is nice, soft touch, both top and in the middle. And then here's where it's a little rough. I'm very surprised that in the year 2020, this has an infotainment system that you need a magnifying glass. So it's a small 5-inch screen. I'll put it in reverse, very, very grainy. You might as well be looking out the back with a periscope, but we'll put that back in the drive. You do have your AM, FM controls, and guess what? You have volume and also the tuner knobs compared to the larger infotainment system, but very, very dated, and you're gonna need a Honda magnifying glass. Standard AC controls, even the way that they did the digital display is that older style. Now, the good news is you got that same great bridge design where you have the cubby up here for some Snickers, maybe a payday or 2. And then down here, this is where you're gonna run your cord for your different USBs and whatnot, and you have more storage. So that's the big plus. On the LX, here's the other zonk. You got your good old-fashioned Honda key fob. If I didn't tell you what year it is, you'd probably think it's 1992 with this key that you actually put in the ignition, turn it up, CVT transmission. Of course, you're gonna have some dead buttons on a base LX. You do have the economy button when you wanna get extra mileage out of your fuel. 2 cup holders that slide. I don't like this cloth. I wish they went with like a leatherette material. The cloth is just hard. It's kind of feels funky. You can lift this up, which is nice, and then slide that back. Put a super big gulp in there. Seats, they're all cloth, but the good news is very comfortable. I like the checkered flag pattern. Stitch work is great. Manual controls, of course, for both the passenger and the driver. But the great news is the material is soft and it really works well. Come on over though. I want to show you behind the wheel of this Honda Civic Coupe. All right, guys, business time behind the wheel of this Civic Coupe. Here's those manual controls. They're easy to get to and it's easy to tune it to your body. Steering wheel has a nice thickness on the business end. The problem is it's made by Nerf. So it's like this weird rubber material, but it is a nice thickness. You got the same Game Boy style buttons, and then the dash is exactly the same. It's the same setup as an SI, as a Type R. You have your tach and speedometer all digital, and then check it out. You could actually scroll through a beautiful supply of different information. Very easy to use. You get a bar graph for your fuel and your coolant. Easy to read, not a cluster of a mess of a bunch of gauges and whatnot. Everything is contained very nicely. Great visibility, but like I promised, let's get 6-foot tall Joe ready. I got plenty of headroom up here. Let's see how much headroom I have in the back seat of the Civic Coupe. All right, guys, time to get in the back seat. What's nice is you push the button, the seat gets totally out of the way, and actually getting in is fairly easy, even for somebody tall. And here's the crazy news. I'm in here, and my head is not touching the headliner. We've been in Mustang GTs, zonk. We've been in Camaros, zonk. We've been in even the Challenger. I would say this is close to the Challenger, but it's definitely more room than a Mustang, than a Camaro. In this back seat, you got little cubby here for some Skittles. Let me get that out of the way. You can put your Skittles here, taste the rainbow, and then you can have your, let's put a juice box or something. Maybe some Welch's grape juice in a nice juice box. That sounds good to me. Material is soft, no armrest, and that's hard plastic, but hey, you got 2 usable seats back here so that you could have a whole car full of Honda Civics. people in the car. But why don't we go ahead, let's check out the trunk, see how much room you have, and if it's versatile enough. All right, guys, we popped the trunk. There's actually no external button to release the trunk. You have to either use the button inside or the button on that ignition key fob part to pop the trunk. So we popped it. The great news is, look at this, on a coupe, large opening, and those seats are gonna fold down to get larger, longer objects in your Civic Coupe. This just shows the flexibility and how usable this car is, especially if this was gonna be an A to B daily driver. You got a little bit of style here. You have that reliable Honda power and trunk space to boot. Sounds like a win-win. Let's go see if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's see how this Civic LX drives. All right, guys, we left Tampa Honda. We're in the 2020 Civic LX with the CVT. Yes, I'm wishing this had a manual or a traditional automatic. Let's do a little acceleration test on throttle. On the brakes. Handling is great. I love how Honda takes all their great engineering, and even in this Civic LX with 16-inch wheels, it still handles. The feedback is wonderful. It's just the CVT for me kills the experience. Now, yes, there's simulated gears, but if you notice, you get off throttle and it just drops the revs. Or when you're on throttle, it just keeps the revs pegged. It's not a pleasurable experience. Does it get the job done? Sure. Does the car get like 30 miles to the gallon? Sure. But from a driving standpoint, I would like something that really just makes the whole experience a little bit better than the CVT. My advice is go this route and go sport. Get a Civic Sport Coupe and then just go that route. Right, guys, let's go through the twisty bits one more time, and then we'll talk about the overall driving feel in this car when it comes to the interior. But slow roll, about 19 miles an hour on throttle. So those simulated gears kicking in on the brakes, and here's where it gets fun. So like I was saying, even though we don't have any, you know, really sticky kind of tires or anything like that, or a larger wheel with a smaller sidewall, still handles very predictable, very confidence inspiring, and it just the way the CVT just does its business, it's just not very invigorating. Now on the interior, the seats are comfy. That infotainment system, if you even want to call it that, is just, you don't even want to look at it, because when you look at it, it's almost like your stomach hurts a little bit. But the great news is you do have that beautiful digital display in front of you with the tach, speedometer, and then you got your digital bar graphs for fuel and coolant. Visibility out the front, super clean. Out the back, even with the way that the coupe has a little bit higher trunk, it's still very, very clear. And the side mirrors on these Civics, they really designed them well to be aerodynamic and also look good as well. Where you put your arms is just not very hard, it's not very soft, and the cloth that they use, it's almost like sandpaper. So I guess if you had like, I don't know, like a callus on your elbow and you kind of wanted to sand it off, you could do that on this armrest. Let me see if I can. Yeah, it actually, it's like exfoliating your skin. It's like exfoliating your skin. But seriously, steering wheel is nice. Just, I wish it wasn't rubber wrapped. I wish it was, that kind of sounds weird, but I wish that it had some type of leatherette style material rather than this hard plastic. But other than that, I think for a value priced compact, you go over to Toyota, what coupe do they have? Go over to Mazda. What compact coupe are you getting? A Miata? Not the same type of car. It's a convertible, unless you get the RF. So really, when it comes to competition for this car, there really isn't much. And that's what makes it almost like its own unique standout, no matter what trim you go with. Driving down the road with those 55 series sidewalls, they may lean a lot in the turns, but driving down the road, everything is smooth and comfortable. And it's actually fairly quiet in the cabin, to be honest with you, for an LX trim. Remember, this is just an entry-level trim with the CVT in a coupe form. But hopefully this gave you a nice little overall feel of what this car is about. We're gonna get back to Honda Tampa Bay and wrap this one up, so I'll see you in a few seconds. All right, guys, it's been another wonderful day here at Tampa Honda. Definitely got to thank Sam and the rest of the crew getting us access to another 2020 Honda Civic. It really shows you could go coupe, you don't have to bring a lot of money, and you're getting some really great usability. And those MPGs, how can you argue with that? But if it's cars like these that you want to keep seeing on Raised Rides, these compact coupes, which are becoming harder and harder to find, leave a comment in the comment section. If you're new and you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. Come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Raised Rides family. If you want to help us keep making great content just for you on the channel, click the link in the description. Get yourself some Raised Rides merch. Got to give it up to Victor, working that camera like a champ. Check him out on Instagram at Victor Scott Wang Photos. He has a real great attention to detail, and he loves cars. So thank you, Victor, for your hard work. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.